Hi, all. Welcome to our last and final session on this means answer writing initiative. Today is day 40. We will be concluding this initiative. And thank you guys for showing us love, hate, indifference, whatever it was. But please keep on practicing more MCQs this time for prelims, which will help you ensure a seat for writing means. Without wasting much time, I urge you all to have a look at my screen. And in the meantime, if you would have any good words or bad words or any review for Collector Babu or for my approach to mains answer writing initiative, it would be very valuable. And please share it. That's all. It's a request. And today is the day for it. We'll be discussing ethics case study. And the question, as usual, will be on your screen. I'll give you a minute to read the question, and then I'll read the question that you are supposed to answer in A and B, and then we'll discuss the answer to it. Hopefully, it's clear. Let's begin. Okay, so now let us read the question, which is, what action do you visualize should be taken by the competent authority against the food company for violating the laid down domestic food standard and selling rejected export products in the domestic market? Okay. What course of action is available with you with the food company to resolve the crisis and bringing back its lost reputation? Okay. And the third is examine the ethical dilemma involved in the case. Okay. So this is the case of business ethics. Here you can talk about leadership aspect of business, etc. I've taken a quote. You can actually use just first part of the quote and not the CEO wala part, and just use it. For example, ethics must begin at the top of the organization. It is a leadership issue, and the chief executive of the company, he must set the example. Okay, so this was told by Edward Hennessy, but you obviously won't be remembering the name. But you can use this quote while answering any business ethics related question. Now, you will give a short insight into as to what is happening in the case study. What is happening in the case study? First is a reputed Indian food product company, after achieving international success, launched its product in the domestic market. However, a random sample test revealed that the domestic product deviated from the approved health standard and included rejected export batches. This unethical practices led to public backlash, regulatory scrutiny, and financial loss. So this is the crux of the case study, which you have just conveyed in 3 lines. Now, you have to talk what the competent authority should take the actions. First would be the option one is obviously they can obviously immediately ban and call recall. The food regulatory body must ban the sale of the non-compliant product and recall existing stock. This is the very basis you have to do it. This is sine qua non bit because it is about public health. Now, the competent authority should also initiate a legal action because it is against the legal regulatory norms of the domestic market. Okay. Now, the competent authority will have to direct the company to publicly disclose the lapses and compensate the affected consumers. And in the end, as the long-term measure, there has to be strengthened regulatory oversight. Stricter inspection and audit must be enforced to prevent recurrence. Okay. Now, corrective actions for the food company. First would be like whatever they have done, they have to course correct and issue a public apology. Okay. Then also commit to transparency and corrective measures. What else? They'll have to revamp the quality control, implement strict internal checks, and compliance with food safety norms so that such lapses do not happen. Now, adopt a third party audit for credibility. Compliance with stringent standards, right? Ensure the domestic markets meet the same standard as export. Because why not? Now, CSR initiative, now they have to commit to some image building exercise, introduce such brand realignment, and go for nutritional awareness programs. Okay, what are the ethical dilemmas involved here? So what was the third part of the question? Ethical dilemmas involved. Okay, we have answered the first two questions. Now, the ethical dilemmas involved are obviously profit versus public health, right? The company in this case prioritized profit over the ethical responsibility of ensuring public and nutritional health and consumer safety. Now, what else? Corporate transparency versus reputation management. Obviously, ethical leadership demands owning up to mistake, but many companies prefer damage control over accountability. Like they might see it just as a one-time measure, but not introduce the systemic structural changes within the way the company operates. Now, what? Regulatory compliance versus business interest. Stricter regulations may affect business, but the corporate ethics must also align with legal moral obligation. Here, in the end, you can just conclude by using the triple bottom line approach, which is talking about profit, planet, and public. This answers our first question. Now, again, the second question will be on your screen, and I'll pause for a minute or two. So, let us read the question now. Discuss the following with reference to this case. First is ethical issues involved in reappropriation of fund from a welfare project to the developmental project. Okay. Now, given the need of proper utilization of public funds, discuss the options available to Rajesh in resigning. Is resigning a worthy option? So, obviously, you will give a small insight into what the case study is all about. You can talk about a quote. You can start from a quote, which is the functions of ethics is not just to teach us what we ought to do, but to help us become what we ought to be. Aristotle. Rajesh Kumar is an honest and forthright senior public servant in the finance ministry, and he faces an ethical dilemma regarding the appropriation of 6,000 crore from the National Housing Scheme to fund two developmental projects, a special economic zone in a southern state and a natural gas processing plant in a northern state. The decision involves a conflict between public welfare, economic growth, and international commitments. While NHS serves the welfare and the weaker section of society, failure to fund SEZ and the gas projects may cause economic and diplomatic repercussions. Okay? Now, what are the ethical issues involved here? Firstly, the conflict between welfare and development, which has already been talked about, like ethical concerns of distributive justice, and then accountability and transparency. NHS funds were allocated to due legal process. Okay, and diverting them without clear public disclosure would be seen as unethical. Public money would be spent for intended purposes. Now, procedural and financial integrity. The reappropriation, if not legally sound, would violate financial discipline norms and lead to audit objections. Talk about political bureaucratic pressure. Okay, to talk about public trust and government credibility. How, if the funds for housing for weaker sections are diverted, it could erode public trust in governance. Parliament may question the government's financial prudence, leading to policy instability. What are the options available to Rajesh? First would be approve the reappropriation as directed. Okay, what would be the merit in such case? The merit would be that it would ensure timely completion of SEZ and gas project. It would avoid economic and diplomatic issues. Then delays NHS implementation, potentially violating public welfare commitments and attracting national scrutiny. Seek an alternative source of fund, which would be ethically preferable, but it's very difficult to mobilize fund in a very short time. Balances developmental priorities without compromising NHS, upholding justice. Possible actions. So what he could do, supplementary grants or reallocation from other less urgent project, because then housing is an urgent project. What else could have been done? He could have explored the option of getting loans and grants from ODO of various countries, for example, Japan. Now, escalate the issues to higher authorities with a formal objection. Okay, then resign from the post, but it is not a worthy option. It's asked if it is a worthy option. No, it would demonstrate that moral stance and against unethical decision, but against this is a normal day-to-day decision that a bureaucrat that higher in the hierarchy has to take. So what? Resignation will shift the responsibility, but it will not prevent the potential financial mismanagement. What else? Is this the culture that a senior officer would be setting in for the junior people to come? Now, what is the ethical standpoint? What is the option you have chosen? And what's the justification? Your justification is seek an alternative source of fund, which is the most worthy option. And now you will justify how it is the most worthy option. So, Rajesh Kumar should adopt option 2, seeking alternative funding sources while ensuring that neither NHS nor the economic projects suffer. As per Rawls' theory of justice, prioritizing the more disadvantageous is ethically justified. Utilitarianism suggests balanced long-term welfare, economic growth through SEZ and gas project with immediate welfare needs. And Kantian deontology demands adherence to procedural integrity, and rule of law, opposing arbitrary. So you can use Abraham Lincoln's quote that there is no black and white in governance. There is no good and evil in governance. There is both with a varying degree. You have to ensure that goodness or the white part remains in majority most of the time. In governance, ethical decision making is about finding pragmatic yet morally sound path, ensuring that the progress does not come at a cost of social justice. You have to ensure both, because economic justice or social justice, everything is part of the constitutional mandate of the ministry of the bureaucracy of the state, and it's the right of the people. So this ends our discussion. This was the last session. Hopefully, you guys will keep on writing if you find time. If this is your second attempt, third attempt, or if you have a strong idea of how to approach prelims, please write mains answer. But you have to ensure that equal priority is given to prelims as well for the important subjects. If you guys have any suggestion, any question, or if you guys want me to contribute in your success story for UPSC, please try to comment and I'll do my part as much as possible. But this is the last session. Okay, bye-bye.